Alright, hello, and good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 3, the third and final day of Mediocres 01 Anything Goes. Have some pretty good runs today, starting off with We Play, Go Vacation, and SOCOM US Navy SEALs. Later today, we have runs like Hello Kitty Roller Rescue, Curse Crackers for Whom the Bell Tolls, Ultimo 4, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Toy Story 3, the video game, and many, many more. Stay tuned all day for that. You can type in ! schedule if there's a run that you specifically want to see. Yeah, without further ado, I think it's about time to get started. So here showing off We Play gold medals, here is SMMidi.
Hi everyone, I am SMMidi. I was here yesterday for the 3D World run, Super Mario 3D World, but I also do a little bit of Wii series. There's a lot of games in the Wii series. This is one of the best-selling games of all time. We Play. Actually not a joke, but it is actually one of the highest selling. But we're going to be playing gold medals today, and that means we're playing all of the games to at least a little bit of completion. We're going to start off with billiards, and timing isn't going to start here. We are going to start on pressing start over because we save a little bit of time, 1 or 2 seconds in loads, which will help us on billiards. So I will give a countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. So, gold medals, how it works, essentially there are lots of different categories in this game. Most of them are medal categories on the main board. And actually, so we're getting straight into billiards here, and what I should probably explain is how RNG dependent this is. So we do need a specific requirement for each medal in this game. Now, this is not ideal. You know what? I am going to go for a different ball here. Because what we need for gold medal is we need a combined 10 shots and fouls to complete this one. So what I can do is if I then get this foul, and hopefully I get both of the balls in at once here, we're only getting one. Okay. Let me do one more shot. If I can get 2 balls in at once, then I will be able to continue this one. Okay, that will need a restart. That's fine. So this is why the estimate is a little bit generous, because it can take a few minutes to get going in gold medals. So there are 4 tiers of medals in this game. There's bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. For billiards, it's quite generous. For bronze and silver, you can get something like 20 combined shots and fouls to get the bronze medal, and I think it's 18 for the silver medal, whereas for gold you need 10, and for platinum you need 7. So you might be thinking, is there any sort of strategy to billiards as we get going? And really the only thing that we do is just hit slightly to the right. This is a very good break. That's a 3 break, so it's just the number of balls we got, which is quite good. And we've got a nice setup on the 2, which is our target ball here, because we might be able to hit the 6 as well. Didn't quite do that, but that's fine. So because we have 10 combined shots and fouls, this is not too bad. What you can do is you can actually get a 0 break at the beginning, and then, so no balls going in, and then get 1 ball on average per extra shot, and that would give you the 10 needed. Plats is a lot harder. We are missing there, that's fine. It's going to go on to the other side. We should be able to take this a little bit slower and close ourselves out for the gold medal here. So I do need to be a little bit cautious. Okay, that's another miss. I do need to be a little bit cautious of where the next target ball is. But another thing with one player in this game, that might not even go in again. Okay, no, it is going in, barely. So one thing with one player in this game is that, okay, it works a little bit weird with the straight shots, but that's fine, we did manage to do it. So in 2-player, this kind of functions a little bit more like normal billiards, except it continues even if you pocket the 9 ball, which is not how 9 ball works. But either way, okay, so as long as I've got 1 foul or less here, we should be fine. As long as we get 51 or more points. There we go, we got our 54. So essentially, even when you pocket the 9 ball, the game doesn't end. So there's no reason to go for the 9 ball specifically. We have to get every ball pocketed. But that is billiards. Thankfully, we are out within at least a few minutes. That's fine. Yeah, so the estimate does accommodate for us failing a game like Tanks, which is also quite a long game. We can play the games in any order as well, is what I should mention next. Now, Tanks is quite a long one, so we have to play 20 missions for the gold medal. And this is why gold is quite quite good in showing off most of the game, because this is the second highest tier medal. You have platinums as well, but the problem with plats is that to get the platinum medal, you'd need to play 30 missions. However, from a new me that does not have... that might be a death. I'm going to restart just to be safe. I don't really want to get late on into tanks and then end up gaming over, because there is no level select here. If I game over, that is it. And there is just... That's just all time loss, basically. We're going to have to restart the whole of tanks to get the gold medal. That is why the estimate, again, is a little bit more generous. So, yeah. There's a lot going on in tanks to explain. First off, we've got different tank grades. So we've got the brown tank that doesn't move. We then have the grey tanks, which they do start to move. They don't fire too often. But as you could see before, I did actually die to it. I am able to plant down mines as well. And what that allows me to do is break these stone walls. So here we have holes in the ground. We're not going to see them very often, but we can't actually move into them. They're basically just walls that you can see through, which is kind of significant in a game like this, because technically this game is a 2.5 dimensional game. So there are a few games out there that operate in this way, and essentially it makes it difficult to see from certain angles in the game. Let's just not die here. We're still dealing with 2 tanks. Okay, we're still dealing with 2. Wow. Okay, there we go. So I do also have a bullet limit as well. We have 5 bullets that we can use before we need to wait for one of them to be destroyed. That is either after 2 ricochets. So you can ricochet a bullet once, and then on the second one it will end up exploding. And yeah, we also have mines, as I've already mentioned. We have a limit of 2 for mines. So you might be seeing me fire directly at walls rather than at tanks directly sometimes. That is because we will get the bullets back slightly quicker. So this is one of those missions where you can speed yourselves up a little bit just if you fire at the wall, because as soon as the bullets have hit the wall, they'll come down, they'll hopefully kill at least 1 or 2 tanks there, and then when you move on to the next section of that level, you'll be able to have your bullets refreshed. So that tank actually wasn't firing at me there. These teal tanks, they do fire rocket bullets, but they do have a couple of seconds cooldown. So as soon as they're fired, as long as you are moving for most of that, there's not really much they can do. Now, the yellow tanks, best way I can describe them is like Clyde in Pac-Man. They're very random in their movement. They have a limit of 4 mines. Okay, that's very interesting. We managed to get the kill on, I think, the exact same frame there, which is an interesting thing to mention. It doesn't really come up very often, but if that happened for the final tank, what would happen? Okay, that's bad. What would happen is we would end up finishing the mission and losing a life, which actually does save time in other medal categories. In this one, we actually don't want deaths. We don't really want deaths in any category, but there is a slight difference in the longer ones, because in tanks, we're only going to have... let's play a little safe here, just to make sure we don't game over. Let's just fire around the wall there. There we go. Lovely. So we need to complete 20 missions for this, and tanks ends at 20 missions, but if you've completed 1 to 20, you can actually try again after, and you'll unlock the full 100 missions, which is only needed to be played in really long categories, like the 100% style ones. And there's also tanks ILs, so you can run 5, 10, 20, 50, or 100 levels. Very interesting speedruns. And these are all predetermined missions at 1 to 20, but after 20, most of them are randomized with their tank grades and with the map layouts. So, yeah, there's a lot to consider. We have encountered red tanks now. The red tanks are firing at us a little bit faster, but as long as I fire quicker than them, and there's no actual fire limit for me personally, it's just how quick I can press the A button. But sorry, the B button. But of course, the A is for the mines. But of course, we do have our bullet limit of 5 to still deal with. So we now see green tanks as well, and green tanks are very awkward to deal with if you don't know what you're doing. Here, I'm going to fire directly at the wall, just so I don't really have to deal with it. And at the same time, I've planted a mine. I will fire at the green tank down there. Hopefully, it doesn't do too many strange angles on me, and we'll be able to finish off that red tank there. So next up we have another, quite a lot of these teal tanks coming at us here. They're all sort of grouped up and they won't actually fire as long as they are surrounded by other ones. Let me just do that. And that is a death. So what I want to do now is fire at the wall again. Unfortunately, they are quite defensive tanks. On the actual wiki, they are displayed as defensive. So they are kind of hard to deal with. So now I'm going to fire at the wall again with this red tank. Hopefully this one moves down. This is quite a scary mission because... Oh, that's another death. Okay, am I on 1 life now? Okay, this is not great. That's fine. So, I'm going to fire at this wall. There we go. I'm going to focus for the rest of these now. We are going to get another extra life should we finish 15. But I do want to be as safe as I possibly can, although green tanks are the opposite of safe. So there, that one's gone. And then the fast strat here is to actually go round and then fire that way. But here, what I can do, plant a mine and just fire directly at the tank, and it's a lot safer. Which, while I'm on 1 life, is advisable. So mission 15, we now have purple tanks. They are going to be kind of like reds, but even more intelligent. They are a lot harder to deal with, and I'm going to be just randomly firing, hoping that I can take a couple of these out, because 3 of them at once is very hard to deal with. There's one gone. After this mission, again, we are going to get our final extra life for tanks here. So that mine detonating on its own. Very nice, that's a kill. Good. And still not dead. Gotta make sure we take this one out. So I've backed it into a corner, but I can't actually see the corner because of the 2.5 dimensional aspect. That is a kill though, that is absolutely fine. We're back to 2 lives. Alright, mission 16. So we have a lot more purples and greens again. And 2 lives is actually still not that ideal. I do like to be on at least 3, especially in longer runs. But we hopefully will be okay. I have already taken out a couple of those purple tanks too. And actually quite convenient there. That's a better way that can go. There are a lot of ways that one can go. And oftentimes the purples will sort of sit in the middle. They are quite hard to deal with if they will do that, because you don't really want to be, especially on 2 lives, risking going in. But at the same time, the only way of being fast here is to take those risks. Now, I should also mention there is a difference here between aspect ratios. So this game is a widescreen 16:9 game. It is on the Wii. However, there is a direct difference. It's one of the very few games where there is a direct difference between 4:3 and 16:9. Best other one I can think of is New Super Mario Bros. Wii, where 4:3 is faster because of the way that the camera pans in the world map. And it means, okay, let me deal with this steel tank just to reduce my problems later on. There we go. And again, I need to deal with it again. Okay, cool. So that teal tank is only going to fire at me if it can actually see me. But hopefully I can just put some bullets in there. Not quite getting a kill. Oh, that was close. Okay. They are really not playing ball today. They literally will just dodge the entire time. That is their only priority, really. So again, here, firing at the wall. We're going to fire 4 bullets just so I can defend myself should I need to. Keeping 1 bullet in reserve. And then here, again, I could cut through the stone walls using the mines, but I don't really want to do that. Just for safety. So I'm just going to keep firing at the walls. Much safer strategy because I can just get out of the way. And also it means that the bullets come back much quicker because this is an entire hallway on this level. So if I fired directly at the wall like I have now, although I didn't fire many bullets, they all sort of cancelled out with the purple tank bullets. Yeah, it's a lot easier to deal with. But yeah, the difference between 4:3 and 16:9, this is the final tank here, so I'll just fire down the hallway. 4:3 kind of squishes the game. So you have direct differences on games like tanks, where there is a reduced playing field. That is the biggest difference. Essentially, there's tanks completed. That is a relief. That is such a relief to get through that. So that is tanks. That's our gold medal done. So the screen is wider on 16 to 9, of course, but what that means is we end up with less obstacles because it sort of squishes the playing field in. So it essentially makes tanks faster on 16 to 9. I'm trying to remember my next game because my splits have actually froze. There's Find Me though. Find Me is my next game. So we need to complete 60 here, so this is quite a long game. This is another one difference between 4 to 3 because some levels here, they will actually, Miis will start walking or swimming and they will be out of the field of view on the side of the screen for a little bit, which kind of makes this a little bit harder in 4 to 3. In 4 to 3. But the main priority is that tanks is faster in 4 to 3 by quite a significant amount. Yeah, Find Me, I've always asked people what their favourite games are in this game, and Find Me is definitely up there. I mean, here you might be noticing I've got quite a few random looking Miis. There was a rabbit. Rabbit is the correct answer. And the reason for that is because without those, I was actually not able to get past silver medal as a kid. Or even not just as a kid, but when I came back to this game to start speedrunning it, about a year or two ago now. Yeah, it is a lot easier when you know how to game Find Me and how the strat in a moment we're going to see is hitbox strat. We are going to be seeing that on some crowded levels. So it's a lot easier to explain when I get there. Now, every level has a specific condition. So there, that is always a find the fastest Mii. And then here, what I want to do is I just want to freeze one Mii at the bottom because it's going to take quite some time for it to wrap around the screen and go to the top. So by freezing one of them, it means if that is the correct answer, that will save me a little bit of time. And these water levels are really hard to deal with, especially level 8. In lower tier medal runs where all the time save is absolutely key to harness in a speedrun, if you're going for a PB or even a world record. In this one, it's not as important to have good levels like level 8, but level 8 essentially, it's very likely that a Mii will wrap around the screen very quickly unless you spot the answer quickly. Sometimes it can just happen anyway. Let me just find... There we go. So I should note as well, it is allowed for anyone else to help with Find Me. So if I am really struggling on a level, that is allowed. People are allowed to help. And in fact, in Find Me ILs, there are people in the same room helping the main person with the controller play the game, which is quite funny, but really there's no way of banning that. So the idea was just, let's just go with it. There's Waluigi, by the way. So yeah, world records are of course a lot more optimized by doing that. Right now, I'm fairly sure there are no actual medal runs where people do that, but people do it in Find Me ILs, which is understandable. So we do start to see these dark levels as well. Most of the time, these dark levels are very tediously placed at the end of a medal requirement. So actually, level 20 would be the end of bronze. And then what we'd be doing here is we'd be draining our time at this point for us to collect our bronze medal. So here we now start to see 3 lookalikes, which can make the game a little bit harder, but on escalator levels, which we are about to see more of, it can be a little bit easier, which I will get into. So what I was doing there is I was actually searching at the top first, and the reason for that is because correct Miis, when they are either in crowded spaces and or zoomed out spaces, they will have bigger hitboxes. And I'm not sure if this is as much of the case closer up. So there I kind of knew from hitbox strat there, and then there as well. So essentially, it means without knowing the correct answer, you can identify the correct answer without actually playing the game. Which helps a lot in Find Me, because it is a very difficult one to consistently get gold medal. I'm just trying to find... Hitbox strat isn't working too well so far. No. You're not the same. Burger is not the same, no. Let me see. There's the 8 ball. There we go. So that is a new me. I actually added some more me's fairly recently. And interestingly, they kind of get stuck. If you select a correct me in the water levels, or any levels really, but mainly the water is where it's a problem. If other me's kind of get stuck between them, they just won't be able to move forward. So you kind of want to remember who the answer is, but you don't want to select them too high up if you haven't actually got all of the others in your field of view at the moment, because chances are there could be one stuck at the top that you just can't see. That will kill a lot of time. So stairs levels are also really good for hitbox strat. Very nice there. So odd me's out, essentially. Some are looking left, the others are looking right. And then, so we're back to escalator levels, and escalator levels are quite nice when you have 3 lookalikes, because there is a maximum of 1 per escalator. You will never have more than 3 lookalikes on an escalator level for that reason. So that means you can search the one with the fewest me's, and you know that one of those will be correct. And even on a 2 lookalikes, you can still search that one with the least me's. Chances are that might have a correct me, and if it does, it kind of speeds it up quite a lot for the game. Here, any answer is correct. We just have to remember that me for a few levels' time. And then odd me out on these next 2 levels is always the one that steps the different direction first. So some step left, the other step right. There at the beginning, I actually press 1, just in case I get the 1 in 4 chance, or here the 1 in 8 chance that I get the correct answer. But unfortunately, after you've done that, it's kind of hard to track where each one is stepping. And then here, yes, I chose you. So the best thing to do, I actually saw there was one with a green cap. Best thing to do on a find your favorite level is, or choose your favorite, is to very quickly search for ones with hats, because that will make it a lot easier to find them. Because there are not often many with caps there. And you might notice as well, there's a lot of features with me's that are not present in Find Me, just to make the game a little bit harder. So we do not have weights or heights. They do not factor in to Find Me. It does not matter what you've set it at. They will always be exactly the same. Another thing is favorite colors. We have these little pastel colors, which are really nice, but unfortunately, they are not the actual colored shirts you get in this game, or on the system. Essentially, we would have a coloured shirt for each, for the favourite colour that you've picked in the Me Maker. But here we don't actually see that. But the way we can get around it is, yeah, we go, just barely before that me disappeared. The way we can get around it is by putting a cap or a beanie onto some of the me's, and that will make it a lot easier to find the correct ones. So a lot of people actually decide to go with basically just a smiley face me and just put a different hat on each one. So they like to identify me's by, I don't know, light green, green, whatever. There's, I believe, 12 colours on the Wii. I know there are more customization options on the other consoles that do have me's from then on, but on the Wii there's a lot less to work with. But the favourite colours do really help at least a little bit to make this game slightly easier. And then we're back to 2 lookalikes, which kind of makes it more difficult. The less lookalikes there are on these crowded levels, the harder it is. And in fact, if we were playing to the end of the game, which is level 99, which is unlocked at the beginning, unlike tanks where you have to play the full 100 first. At the end, it gives you a really zoomed out level with 5 lookalikes. So 1, the hitbox strat is hilariously big. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if some people noticed it casually, because it's jarring how obvious the correct me's are when you know what you're looking for. And 2, having 5 lookalikes on one that only has, I believe, something like 40 me's does make it a little bit easier. We have just 10 levels to go here before the end. Picking out Bellsprout there, that is a Bellsprout me. A few people struggled to notice that was Bellsprout, understandably, because I believe the way I copied that me from a website with me characters on it, it has like instructions and stuff on how to make each one. Lots of really creative ways of doing these things, but I believe it was made on the 3DS, and the 3DS, again, it has a lot more customization options, so the Bellsprout, it looks a little bit better on the actual tutorial. So there we've got the light blue. I actually don't have a light blue favorite color, me. That probably would be quite useful, but I don't actually like, just as a preference really, having every single one, because if you have all of them, a lot of them can blend in with each other quite easily. So the light blue, the light colors, like the green here, and I also have the light green with Mike Wazowski is one of my other Miis. So some of them work well together. It's really just up to preference. In fact, some of the other top runners, most people don't really do as many Miis as I do, but in my opinion, it does make the game at least a little bit easier. So here, we are back to 3 final dark levels. Can be a little bit of a pain at the end of Find Me here for a gold medal. And another strat I should mention, here we're not actually going to see it, but in silver medals and platinum medals, we would be seeing, I believe this is Waluigi, yeah. I'll just wait for him to reappear, there we go. We got one more level. So, the strat basically involves how many Miis are correct. That was a very quick find as well, very nice. How many Miis are correct on the level 6, here level 60. Here I just want to drain my time. I want to make sure I'm not pressing my own Mii. I do want to select alternating Miis though, because there is a slight cooldown to pick the same Mii for an incorrect answer. So essentially, in other categories like silver and platinum, how it works is the level that is the final one for your condition, so silver is 40. That level, you only need, yeah, there we go. You only need 1 incorrect Mii to drain your time. So you lose 5 seconds for each incorrect Mii, or incorrect submission. But here, you know what? I think I'm just going to go in the order, because, again, my splits are broke, so I'm going to just go in the order. That's fine. It doesn't really matter too much in this speedrun. But yeah, essentially what you'd do is you'd drain your time on level 40. You would then take the bonus after completing level 60. So you would drain your time down to really low, like 10 seconds, or even lower if you want to push it. And then on level 61, you would drain the rest of your time. The reason you drain it a level early is because the following level has more Miis you need to select to finish the game. So that is a very, very small time save, but it is used in silver and platinum medals. Here we are playing shooting range. We need 600, sorry, 600. That's platinum. We need 450 points for this. And this is one of the games where actually, this was originally thought to be 500. For a long time while I was running the game, people thought this was 500 for gold medal because there is a wiki that has supposedly the medal requirements for each game here. Turns out they were not extensively tested, so I decided, you know what, there are literally world records out there with the wrong medal boundaries. The only one that was extensively tested was plat. All of those were correct when I started running the game. So we started to test what we could find with each game. And the main ones that were wrong were laser hockey, which we're going to see in a little while, and shooting range. So shooting range, a really big one was bronze. Bronze was originally thought to be 250. It's now 200 known to be. Here we are getting a massive combo, by the way. I normally drop my combo way earlier than that. So we should be saving time on shooting range here, actually. This is quite a nice one. So what I'm going to do here, I am going to try and hit some of the cans that are coming in from the foreground. Very nice. There's one hit there. And there are 3 of these. If I manage to hit, there we go. Nice. Nice. I actually got 2 hits in there. Didn't really intend that, but excellent. This is actually basically optimal, by the way, because here we only need to hit 2 UFOs, and that is actually what we want to do anyway. We want to hit these 2 slow UFOs. And then that gets us our 450. So it's very rare for you to get a pretty much optimal shooting range. Shooting range. The only other way of saving time is to not hit targets for the most part in the targets phase. But the issue with that is that you then pretty much can't get gold medal. So that's the gold medal. That is perfect. And that is another game off our list. I'm going to start off another one with table tennis. Table tennis is a massive pain. The way this works, we need to get 100 rallies, and similar to tanks, this game does continue to 999 if you really wanted to go that far. Now, there is a category, there are 2 categories out there, Heist Achievements and All Achievements, where you have to play 999. Now, unless you have inhuman reaction times, 999 is basically impossible. So what we allow is pause buffering, and pause buffering is actually allowed in any category, but it's very slow. Basically, when you pause in this game, you can move the pointer anywhere you want on the screen. So when you unpause, the bat will basically teleport after only a few frames to where your cursor is now positioned. So it means you can just pause buffer this game, and although it's kind of broken, but it's 999 points. It's very easy to make a mistake. In fact, originally in the first Heist Achievements run, there was a fail at around 300 points, which lost about 15 or so minutes. Right now, there have only been there's only been 2 runs of Heist Achievements and 1 of All Achievements. And they're both by me. Anyone else that wants to run the category, more than happy to give advice on what you need to do and stuff like that. The main thing you have to do is Table Tennis 999 and Tanks 100. Tanks 100 is a very long game. People have been able to get under an hour in Tanks ILs, but usually when I've done runs of those achievement speed runs, I will be well over an hour. Next up's Pose Me. This is quite a long game again. And yeah, so this one, we've got 3 poses to work with. We have specific patterns that we can know before we even get going in the game. For example, level 1, the angle is going to change to be pretty much opposite at 27. Now, my sensor bar is a little bit not working perfectly recently, so in the top left, it just sort of stutters a little bit. So it means I kind of can't play perfectly at Pose Me, but we are able to still complete the game, hopefully. You can see the me stuttering quite a lot, and it's kind of exclusive to Pose Me. The rest of the game, it seems to work perfectly fine, which is a bit strange. So, next up, we now have this level. We have a certain number of Miis before it will change to the other direction. That's for the first 4 cycles, and then it will just start alternating a little bit randomly. So I'm kind of just tilting the Wii Remote after each bubble, just to preempt whether there is going to be a tilt or not. So it will sort of snap into place as well. You don't need to be exactly where the bubble is for it to count, although you do need to be fairly precise. So the way Pose Me works, not a lot of people know how it works. I actually didn't know myself until not that long ago. But essentially, this game operates on an invisible timer. There are 2 games that do that here. There's Pose Me and there's Fishing. So Pose Me has an invisible around 30-second timer. And the reason I noticed that is when I was making comparison splits against someone else's PB. So I could start doing some Platinum Medals runs. And I realized if I seeked 10 seconds forward 3 times on YouTube, it would finish the level pretty much every single time. And that's what made me realize there was a timer in this game of 30 seconds. So essentially how that timer works is you have 30 seconds for the game to spawn in bubbles. There must always be a bubble on the screen, which is a well-known thing. So that means that you can't finish levels very early, but you can get more bubbles. The game will get a little bit harder if you are popping lots of them at once. So on these levels where it gets progressively faster, popping more bubbles actually does make the game harder. So when that timer runs out, the game will basically stop spawning bubbles, but the round doesn't end. You do have to pop the final bubble on screen for the level to be completed and for you to get your perfect bonus if you've not lost any lives. And the way of losing lives is that the bubble drops to the bottom of the screen. So it is ideal for us to keep that perfect bonus so we can finish, get gold medal slightly earlier. And on the early levels, especially the first 3 or 4, it is very much important for you to get as many points as you possibly can, because it is they're a lot nicer to get very decent high scores on, which gets you in a good position to finish gold medal fairly early. So here we're now seeing the bubble starting to tilt, and we are seeing a lot more levels now where we need to change our poses mid-game. Before we were just doing it in the menu. Now, another thing to mention as I'm playing a little bit slower here, not intentionally, just not playing as good on this level, is if a rainbow bubble spawns, it will stop time, and it will also stop the invisible timer that I was talking about. So we don't really want too many rainbow bubbles. Some of them do spawn in pretty much by default on some levels, but for the most part in gold medals, we're not going to see too many of them. What you can do, though, is you can sort of leave the rainbow bubble until it's near the bottom of the screen, just so that it does... you can leave as few bubbles as possible on the screen, and you can basically stop the rainbow effect early if you pop all the bubbles. It will start spawning in more bubbles again, and the time will resume. So a good completion for me is about 10 levels for golds here. I think we might be going for about 10 or 11, which is not too bad. So even though I'm not playing brilliantly here, it isn't going to cost me too much time because of the fact that... so here's the rainbow bubble, and it's probably going to spawn in quite low, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to pop that quite early. There we go. We actually didn't lose too much time there, though. Only about half a second of that rainbow. So it does stop the music, and that is the cue of how long it's done that effect for. There we go, and we've done it again. Nice. So yeah, because of this perfect bonus, we will need to see about 10 levels anyway. It is possible to clear this early, and if you are a score runner of PoseMe, you will probably be very good at speedrunning this. Here the bubbles are upside down, which is where my Wii Remote likes to act up even more, unfortunately. But these will always stay upside down, so you can literally just hold your Wii Remote at this angle, and it's fine. Losing a little bit of time to that rainbow there, but that's absolutely okay. And I'm just going to play safe just to preserve my perfect bonus there. Lose a couple of seconds, but I'd much prefer that than playing most of the entire new level. Bit unkind with the poses at the end, but barely managing to stay alive. So we are going to have to play this level. In fact, I might even need the perfect bonus here. So I can actually complete on a good day. I can get the gold medal and exit the game on 800 points. 800 is a requirement here. So I would have to play really well here to be able to do that on this run. I'm going to start dropping bubbles now. I think we're just barely missing the requirement. Ah, 796, that's a shame. So I started dropping bubbles a little bit early because bubbles will still spawn in while you're starting to tank some lives. I am going to play as safe as I can here though, because this is quite a risky level to start risking it with the counter. There's our final life, we get our 800 points and we leave with our gold medal, not too bad. So another thing you might be noticing is I already have scores on my file. Now, if you do decide to run this game, which I would absolutely recommend, then one thing you can do, which has been found recently by Resonation, who I believe is or was in chat at the moment, she found a skip, score skip. And here we're playing Laser Hockey, by the way, we need 10 goals for this. So she found score skip, and essentially what that means is from a new file, when you delete your save data on the console, what happens is you can play from a new me and start to unlock the game. So the games actually aren't unlocked by default. You only have shooting range at the beginning, which is the first game in the list. So what you can do here, by the way, I'm literally just hitting in the top of the panel, and it means you can kind of cheese the CPU, which does get a little bit faster as we go on. So the strap sort of diminishes its usefulness, but we can still do it for a little bit longer. And as long as I get to 10 points, we are going to have a little bit of downtime for me to explain the score skip a little bit. So the only way of losing time here is to concede an extra goal. You don't actually increase your requirement. So if I conceded, say, 2 goals here, you would still be able to obtain gold medal for 10 points. So I'm just going to put the Wii remote down now. Killing the speed with the back of the paddle, and that will finish off the game there. So to explain score skip, essentially, what happens is you're supposed to play a medal category from a new Mii, but not from a new save file. Basically, what that means is if you've played on another Mii, you've unlocked all of the games, but you can then play on a different Mii or a guest Mii, and you won't have any medals. And that is key because you need to see the medal cutscenes, which is what we are seeing. What we're not seeing is the spotlight that appears early for a new high score, which is what you would see because each Mii in this game has a separate leaderboard from each other. So what you're able to do is essentially what you're supposed to see is that that new high score pop up. You get about a 3-second cutscene each time, which saves 27 seconds in this run, which is massive in an optimized speedrun like this. Most of the categories are within about a minute of some of best at this point, so a 30-second time save is unheard of. But how you set it up basically is from a new file, you play games and you try and get high scores, but you do not play tanks until the end. And essentially, you can get as many high scores as you want above the medal boundaries. So you might notice on my shooting range, my score is like 700 or whatever. Whereas, by the way, we've only got 2 games coming up. We've got fishing and we've got charge we're going to be ending on. So, yeah, you'll notice that I have high scores already, and they are all above the platinum requirements. That means even in a platinum medals speedrun, I am able to do score skip. As long as I get lower than the 5th place score, we will skip that high score animation, basically, and we will be able to save that time. So here I'm actually going to go for the mystery fish. So mystery fish spawn in randomly. This game is a very interesting one. So there are a maximum of 5 fish that can spawn in. There are or each one has different characteristics. So we have the plain old fishes. They take 2 bites to catch. Yellows take 3, but they are also. That's a shame. Oh, actually, that's a good thing. We're now going to get it on bonus. Very good. So yellows take 3, but they will let go very quickly. Reds take 4, but if you go up to them and you jolt the Wii remote forward a little bit too much, they will actually start zipping around the pond like they just did there. Let me just make sure I don't catch this green. So I like to just lift the fishing rod out of the pond just so they don't get caught there. Now, what I do want to do is make sure that we get the gold medal requirement. So I am kind of pushing it a little bit here. The less fish you catch, the more time you save, because like Pose Me, there is... Okay, we're getting very lucky on these bonuses. There is a little... let me just not... Okay, small fry, get out of my way. There we go. So this is the king of the pond. This gives a lot of points. I do need to make sure I get 2,300 here, though. We might be failing. Okay, I need you. And then, what else do I need? You on bonus. That bonus will give me double points. There we go. That was a very risky one. 8 fish for gold medal. So that is very nice, though. So essentially, the invisible timer pauses every time we catch a fish. So we don't want to pause it too often. We lose about 3 seconds per fish. And again here, 3,090 is my bottom score, so that means we get score skip. So that is another 3-second time save. And then our final game coming up, we have Charge. So Charge, at the beginning, we're actually going to start over. That's going to skip a 2nd cutscene. And then I'm also going to tilt the Wii remote as soon as I press start over, so it skips another text box. And here, all I need is 300 points. So I'm going to hit most of these scarecrows here. Each scarecrow we hit is 1 point. We also get a perfect bonus if we get all of them in one set. And these red scarecrows will give us 10. We also have a perfect bonus at the end. So there are 300 scarecrow points, and there are bonus points for also getting every second left over on the timer. So a very interesting thing to note is that there are charge speedruns in this game. There are ILs that are basically like speedrunning a single Mario Kart track. It's always the same Mario Kart track, and you're stuck on motion controls. Because most of the games here in Wii Play use the pointer, but this game uses motion. Quite like games like Billiards, also using motion and the pointer combined. This one just uses motion. So here, I've missed a few scarecrows. I'm just going to play safe at this point. We're going to stick to a middle line, and we will hopefully finish out off. Looks like we're getting 327. That is actually a platinum medal. We are allowed to do that in a gold medal speedrun. Time is going to come up when we get the medal banner in the menu. So in about 5 to 10 seconds time. Yeah, so platinum medal is allowed because it's higher tier than gold. And almost time. That's time. So that's all 9 gold medals. Decent time. I mean, my live split did freeze there, so I'm not too sure what exactly I got. Looking at the stream, it's about 44 minutes, so I am really happy with that, honestly. I mean, Billiards can go very badly at the beginning, and that's why it's just good to play safe with that one. But yeah, best thing, yeah, exactly. I got platinum instead of gold. I know, I should reset. Yeah, I mean, if I played optimally in Billiards and actually had a good Billiards game, then I would have also got plat there. So it's just a skill issue, I guess. But yeah, I'm really happy with that run. Best thing I can say now, if you want to get into this game, again, I would absolutely recommend that. Shoutouts to the Wii Series Speedrunning Discord. We got all sorts over there. Every game there is, all 13 of them, including Nintendo Switch Sports. There is a lot going on with basically all the games most of the time. There's even a channel for Wii Chess, if you're really interested in speedrunning that. And yeah, you can pick out the games you want to run. It's a very, very welcoming. You can sort of just stick to Wii Play if you want. I would recommend that. And there's also golf speed runs in Wii Sports, stuff like that. I do a little bit of Wii Sports Resort, but that's it mainly for me with Wii Series. Other than that, I want to shout out my community on Twitch. We've been doing platinum medals recently. We've been doing a massive grind to try and get all 4 medal world records. Currently, there is a very optimized world record by Murasaki, one of the best Wii Series runners there is across the entire series. Yeah, he currently has a very, very good world record, and with score skip, it could go even lower. So, yeah, shout outs to the community on Twitch. Go check us out if you want more Wii Play, because you definitely get a lot of that right now. And we also do quizzes, if that's your thing. Stick around for the rest of the marathon, though, because there's lots more runs coming up for this final day. So I'll hand back to our tech, our hosts, and thanks for having me. I'll see you around.